Now, I hear you're planning a final poetry collection. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I'm hoping to. I never definite on anything, but I'm hoping to. I want to take. I have written, I don't know, probably hundreds of poems over the time from when I very first started writing poetry, and taking the best of what I've written and putting it in one full collection of poems. Just, I'll see. I'm not really committed to it, but I have been thinking very seriously that I would like to do that. And as I say, if I do, it's going to be my final poetry collection.
Now, do you want each book to stand on its own, or you're trying to build a body of work with connections between each book?
Well, I would prefer that each one stand on its own. The only titles that are associated with each other is the Durwood Tugbottom comedies. I am planning to do a third one in that, and then that will be the final of that series. But the rest of my work, there is no connection between the stories. I didn't ever plan it to be that way. That's just the way it worked out to be. I possibly could have done a series with Passions in Paris, but I decided not to when I released the grand scale novel of Passions, Revelations. But I would like each book to stand on its own, hopefully. And I think anybody that has written, or I should say, that has read my work would probably say that nothing is the same as what they've read before, with the exception of the Durwood series.
So, in regards to the book you're working on now, why did you choose that time frame and that setting?
Well, I think the 70s was a very, very unique decade. It was for me, as I recall. I was in my 20s, and just a very unique decade, very colorful. A lot of things was happening at that time in the States as well as in Canada. And I love horses. I've always loved horses. I rode in my youth, never professionally. I never took part in professional showing or anything like that. But I loved it. I would go and watch different events, show events and equestrian events as much as I could, and watching races and watching the horses and just enjoying everything about it. So I had just decided when I was going to do this new novel that might be a venture that I would like to undertake, to write about what would take place on a professional racing stable and see how I could build a story around that. So this is what I've done, and I'm enjoying it, and I think I've chosen a very good spot to set it in because it seems like Lexington, Kentucky is one of the major areas for thoroughbred racing. I'm hoping that it will be received well when the time comes for it to come out.
Who do you write your books for?
I don't know that I have a particular group of people that I write for. I think I write for anyone who likes to get lost in expressive fiction. I suppose maybe I tend to write for the audience that would be myself if I were buying a book. I like expressive work, and I like to be able to feel what the author is feeling when they write their work. And so for me, I would say that is what I hope, that when people read my work, that they can understand or feel where I'm coming from when I write it. And so there's no particular age group or man or woman that I would say that I write specifically for, but whoever does read my work, regardless of their age group, I hope that they do enjoy it.
With your upcoming novel, The Perils of Autumn, what reading audience do you think it might appeal to most?
Well, I would hope, because of the storyline of this book, that definitely people that are interested in horse racing, and anybody that follows the Triple Crown in the spring when it takes place. I would think anybody that likes a very intense story that it can pull them right into what it is that they're reading. So I'm hoping that this book will be well received when it comes out.
Now, based on your experience as a writer, what's the one recommendation you would make to authors just starting out?
Well, I think the very first thing that I would suggest that they write about what they know or what they have experience with. There's nothing worse than trying to undertake a topic in a story of something that you might have a little bit of knowledge about, but you don't know all that much about it, and therefore you're trying to write it as if you do. You have to research everything, and just constant research to make sure that whatever it is that you're choosing to write about, that you know all aspects of it so that you can present it in a proper way. But if you write about the things that you know, when you're first starting out, definitely writing about what you know, it will give you the ability to continue to write your story and feel as though what you're having to say is coming out the proper way.
So, what's been your most rewarding experience since you started writing?
I would say gaining a 5-star rating for Willow's Walk while it was still in pre-release. I found that very rewarding. The highest rating in a book that I had to date was for Passions in Paris, Revelations of a Lost Diary, and that was a 4-star that was given by Amazon. And so to be able to get a 5-star was that much better, because I mean you can't get any higher than a 5-star, and this was given to me by Readers' Favorites, and they are readers who sign up with Readers' Favorites to review work of different authors of books that they have coming out. And so I had submitted Willow's Walk, the manuscript of Willow's Walk, to Readers' Favorite before it was ready to be released, and the different readers that read it all gave me a 5-star rating for it. So that really was a good uplifting feel to know that I had written a 5-star.
Do you have a time frame set for the release of The Perils of Autumn?
I do. I'm hoping to be able to release it in late spring of 2018, maybe late May or early June, somewhere in there. There's never any set way of knowing for sure exactly when a book is going to be released. It just depends so much on, as you're writing it, if there's any setbacks, the revisions that come into play, and or if you choose to go back and change anything before you go to your very final revision. And so I'm hoping to be able to have it come out in the spring. It gives me the entire winter to continue work on it. And if things go along the way they have been on it, it should be ready to come out in spring. So that's the time frame that I'm projecting toward.